single patience. I don't know what. Yo, we live. We are live. Let me kind of fix this camera. They don't look good.
Blessings, everyone.
It's kind of. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to fix the camera.
Blessings, my brother Doug.
We lie. We lie. We here. We lie.
And
And we lie. And we lie. Why I feel like I'm so far? Like I close up to the camera, and then I back away, and then I close up, and then I back away, and then I close up.
well, listen, we'll just like to thank you all for joining us on the Fearless Footmans. Listen, we are excited what God is doing in our lives. This is a journey, a process, so marriage, a marriage life. So we're just thankful to be able to testify about what God has done for us. And I'm going to put it in the hands of Rodney Footman.
You gonna put it in the hands of me?
Blessings, Auntie. Rodney.
What's poppin'? How's everybody doing tonight? I know we probably gonna have some more people get on. Um, we thank each of you that's gonna get on and listen to us today. Uh so today, um, y'all know last week was very, very, very intense for me. I'm gonna say for me. I can't speak for my wife, but it's very intense and very emotional for me. Y'all let us know if y'all can hear us though, because we talking and I don't know if y'all hear us. Let us know if y'all can hear us. Give us some likes or something, and let us know that y'all can hear us. Because we just rambling and y'all might can't even hear us. Let me make sure. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, we heard. Thank you, brother Rashad Berry. Thank you. We heard. So, last week, was a little bit emotional. I talked about how it happened and all that type of stuff like that. What transpired in our marriage at the first beginning. But I do want to take a little pause from that, just for a little bit. And I kind of want to share my heart with y'all, um, and my wife too as well. She ain't know I was gonna do this. This ain't nothing we talked about or nothing we discussed or anything like that. But this week has been a very, very how can I say, a very emotional week this week. It's been a lot of death, like a lot of death this week. Every almost every day this week, or close to every day this week, me and my wife have found out about someone passing, someone transitioning. I don't want to say death, but transitioning. Even on today, uh, my family, we buried my great aunt on today. Also today, I found out that one of my brothers that I grew up with uh, in the FBH, Fire Baptized Holiness Church, he transitioned today, this morning as well. And then also we found out another lady that used to attend our church today, she passed away. Earlier this week, we found out someone close to us, their cousin passed away. So it's just been like a lot of death and a lot of transitioning from people. And it's hard to process. It's very hard to process. It's very hard to um how can I say, deal with, cope with. Um, even on even on what you call it, y'all, I thought I was okay, and I was watching The Shy, and even Papa's daddy, even he passed away, and they had a funeral for him. Like that did something to me too. Like I don't know if y'all watch The Shy, y'all know what I'm talking about. That did something to me too. That hurt. I ain't gonna lie. And then to top it all off, I watched everybody's been talking about the Kurt Franklin documentary, and I finally watched that. Just got through watching it before we got on, and even my wife, she was at the gym. So I was trying to tell her about it to fill her in on a lot of things that's going on. But uh when it comes to like death and the process, like I'm still learning how to grieve. Um, it's very hard to grieve for me. Grieving is a process that I have not fully, how can I say, I have not fully mastered. And I don't think that's the correct word to say master, because I don't think no one actually grieves. I mean, actually masters grieving, because anytime you grieve in something, most of the time a death or something is unexpected, or a transition is unexpected. Even when you know it's about to come, it's still like an unexpected thing. So
And grieving is a process. It takes time to heal. So it's not something that's going to happen just overnight. And sometimes it may take months and sometimes it may take years. It's about taking the proper steps to heal when you have lost someone. And this is just not about losing just a person, but also, losing relationships, losing jobs, like all those things can grieve you as well. So just learning how to make sure that you're dealing with it the right way, going to counseling, seeking help so that you can heal and deal with it, because it's okay to cry. It is okay to cry, to get it out. Yep.
that's right. Get it out, cry, all those types of things. That was good. So, uh, you just looking. Why are you just looking like that?
Or what? Because I was reading a comment.
Oh,
You gotta read,
read.
babe.
Oh, right. I don't like when people put a time frame on when you should grieve and stuff.
Right. It takes
Yeah,
time.
yeah, that's very true. Cause my grandmother passed away in 2016. And honestly, I still have not dealt with it. I have not dealt with it. I had my the day of the funeral I cried, but after that, like I just buried it. Like it's nothing that I have I mean, I don't know. Like I've just never processed it. I never, it was just like I got up the next day and I went back to the regular scheduled program. Like I never took the time to really just sit and grieve over my grandmother. It just, you know, I just kept moving, kept going, because life still goes on, and even though that person passes away, you still got to deal with the things of the world. You still got bills. You still got a job. You still, for those that have kids, you still have all those things. So with that being said, I would like to, because after me watching, if you haven't seen the Kurt Franklin documentary, please go watch it. I'm sorry, y'all. This Kurt Franklin documentary, like I said, it's been a very emotional week with grief and loss, and then just to top it off with that, if you haven't seen it, it's really Kurt Franklin talking about his journey. What's funny?
I'm just listening to you, baby. Nothing's why I'm listening to you.
Yeah, I
Because
don't
it was
like
so
that.
hyped. No, you were so hyped about it and you were telling me about it. So I didn't. I was
Yeah.
just, yeah.
So it's basically about him and his journey with his father. So I kind of want to talk about our relationships. Well, my relationship with my father and the relationship you had with your father, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
that you can remember, and how you think life would be different if your father didn't commit suicide. If that's all right with you.
Alrighty.
All right. I just wanted to check with my wife to make sure
Well,
it
listen,
was
we on live, so I
it
mean,
was
if it
okay with.
wasn't okay, hey,
If
we
if
here now.
if it wasn't okay, we could have talked about something else. But only reason I say that is because um the Kurt Franklin documentary, it uh really spoke to me, and I've been seeing a lot of people comment on it and have a lot of things about it. But what I look at is, Kurt Franklin is 53 years old, and at the age of 53, he still was loaning, and searching for that fatherly love from his biological father. Um, and like throughout his whole entire life, he that's something that he struggled with. Look, my mom is on. I, Hi, mama. She can't hear me, and I don't want to sign because y'all don't know what I'm gonna be talking about. Anyway, but it struck some nerves.
Kalisha's on, Molly's on, my twin sister Michelle is on.
Well, shout them out then, since
Hello,
you.
I mean, we're greeting people. I don't think Rodney saw, but I'm just want to say thank you for everybody that's on right now. Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah.
But Molly, I do like what you said. You don't ever get over family members' death. God just gives you the strength, and that is so true. That is something we have to realize that when we're dealing with grief and when we're dealing with death, like I don't think there's a period where you will just absolutely just be over it, but God will just give you the strength to go through it because I still have these thoughts in my mind. But lessons to you, Jeremiah. Sometimes I still have this thought in my mind, like, I can't believe they're gone. Or like Roddy was saying earlier, what if they was here now? Like what if my father was here now? What would be different? You know? So I mean, those are just things to really think about when you do lose someone that is close to you about really dealing with it. Get some counseling and get help and not try to just run from it. Because sometimes, when you don't deal with the grief, especially of your father or someone that's close to you, it can leak into your marriage because you're still holding on to some things. Like me, I mean, this is be real. I just had some daddy issues, and that little girl was just still there dealing with some brokenness that I didn't quite understand.
Very true. That's good. Um, Again,
Blessings, EP,
blessings.
Prophet,
I,
Gun.
so but after my wife was saying that, we was, like I said, I was watching a documentary of Kurt Franklin, and it goes to show, um well, we're praying for you,
Molly.
Molly. We're praying for you because we know that's not an easy thing. Like I said, grieving is something hard, and when it comes to a family member that was close to you, and like I said, we've been hearing about, you know we've been hearing about death all week long, and my cousin uh Bobby McDowell, well, let me say Pastor Bobby McDowell, he was preaching today, and he was saying, like, it's time out for the watered down gospel. Like, it's time to start telling people that, heaven or hell is your home. If you do not get it right here on this earth, hell will be your home. It's time out for playing. It's time out for being lukewarm. It's time out for being flippy floppy, wishy washy. Either you gonna be for God, or you gonna be for the devil. I hate to put it like that, but I mean that's just the reality, and that is the truth of it. And with with all this death and everything that's been going on, it takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on you because it's like people, especially people that and like that's close to you. It really takes a toll on you about people dying and pass away. It's never an easy thing to deal with. I mean, never an easy thing to deal with. And and like I said, it almost put me in kind of a depressed state for the simple fact of, and don't get me wrong, I know everyone has their time and everyone has their purpose on earth, and the Bible even speaks about it's time to live, time to die, all those type of things like that. And death is still not an easy thing to process. It's still not like I said, I haven't mastered grieving and I'm still going to and I'm actually still grieving.
I don't think you ever can master that. It's something that God got to give you strength to just, overcome it. It takes time. I don't think it's just something that you can just master because we still have the thought of thinking, about that loved one. The main thing is knowing, they're in a better place. At least we hope they're in a better place. But, think about the happy thoughts and the time that you have spent. And, you got to reset your mind. And I think that's really what has helped me. Even today when we was at the funeral, we was at my home church where I grew up at. And my husband was like, oh, your family's buried over there. And I was like, yeah, like my father, my brother. And I was just thinking about that. And yeah, I mean, it was just tough. Like I wanted to break down then. I feel like breaking down now because I didn't know we were going to be talking about this. I didn't know we was going to be talking about this, but it's still good because I do know that you do have to deal with your deal with death and deal with grieving. And like you said, today we're talking about us when we have dealing with us in our relationship with our fathers. If it could have been different, you know and just my aspect, and he's going to talk about his aspect of it as well. But it's just very important that we know that I don't think you can ever truly master that, but what you can master is taking it to God in prayer. So we have to just take it to God and allow God to do the work. So I believe that when we master praying and become disciplined, and when you pray, that is what's going to really help you to get through it. And that's really going to help you to heal, not only to heal, but to be whole. And sometimes it's not an easy process. I'm all about these analogies, so I'm about to say it.
Very true. Go ahead
So
and do
like, when say if you fell down and you broke your hip, and so you had to go into surgery.
this might be a good one, y'all.
And when and so when you have broken hip, when you go into surgery, you cannot expect just to come out and start running. You can't expect to come out and not have to deal with the bandage and deal with the wounds and deal with, how they cut you up. It has to be clean. Constantly, you having to deal with that wound and you having to deal with try to get that strength back, to get that hip back in place. It takes time to deal with that. And sometimes it even takes nurses. You got to go back to the doctor, go back for the visits. They want to see, have you healed? Are you doing better? Or has it been infected? Come on, now this is a word right here.
Yeah.
So the same way when we deal with that infection, even if you have an infection, if you have not taken care of the wound properly, come on, it can be infected. And guess what? You got to get an antibiotic.
You talking, not preaching.
And so, oh my gosh. So I get excited about God because this is just how God works. When we look at it, I know I was talking in the natural, but when you talk about it in the spiritual, like God can deal with that. Those infected areas and those areas where we feel like we're not going to just recover from, quickly, God begins to deal with it. God deals with it. And the only thing I'm going to do is give it to him. And that's what we got to deal with our grief. When we're grieving, give it to God, allow Him to work with that wound. You know, a lot of times when you leave a wound that's not taken care of, come on, it will. You're a nurse, Kamisha on here. You're a nurse, so you know if something has became infected and you don't deal with it, it begins to spread in your body. And think about it in the spiritual realm, when you don't face things and when you don't face the fears, when you don't face what you're battling with, it's going to spread all throughout your life because you're choosing not to tackle it. So it's going to affect your marriage. It's going to affect your family. It's going to affect your ministry. It's going to affect your job. Shall I continue? There's a lot of things that it will affect if you don't deal with the reality of I've been wounded and I need help. So who is our helper? Jesus.
Well, I'm infected.
Well, guess what? Jesus can deal with you. That's right. Listen, Sister Kalisha, come on, prophetess. That's right. The infection will spread, but it's up to us. It's a choice if you say, hey, I want to be healed, or you don't want to be healed. But just know if you don't deal with the infection, it's going to spread. So you got to deal with it. You got to deal with it.
Well, with my wife saying that I'm infected because I ain't dealt with it,
And it's okay because the first thing is
and
that
I
you acknowledge it.
I'm just being honest. I have not. I've never been able to deal with death and grieving. Like, never been able to deal with it. I just bury it. Like, I bury it. I don't think about it. I just push it to the side and I keep it moving. Now I have a day or two where I might cry or something like that. But as far as like just dealing with it on a constantly, or as you all have said, some of y'all in the chats, like a healthy way of dealing with it. I
Well, that's unhealthy if you're not dealing with it.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. I have not dealt with it.
So guess what?
I just
We're
I'm
gonna we're gonna put a plan together. We got to put a plan together so that you can heal. Because I want to see you heal from this, Rodney. Don't y'all want to see him healed? And I'm. This is seriously, like, I know, like, we do laugh and have a good time, but like, honestly, like, he has to deal with that healing, and we know that God can do it. And I know that I can pray and cover you and talk about it, but you have to also get some help, get some counseling. But I applaud you because you were acknowledging that, hey, I haven't dealt with this. And a lot of times when we do bury things, because you're not the only one, you bury things and you leave it there. But guess what? It's still there. It is still there. It hasn't went anywhere. So we have to deal with it when we haven't, faced the reality that, oh, I really lost this person, and just try not to think about it because it comes back again. So you have to learn how to deal with it. So I'm just going to say this to you, come up, we're going to get a plan together and a strategy so that we can tackle this. And you have a team. You have a team that's here for you.
I don't know about the team part,
Oh, there are some people that is going to pray for you, Rodney.
and I'm struggling. I struggle with that too.
Yeah, you got to get healed from a couple of things.
I know. I know. I need some healing. Lord knows I need, because and to be honest, the reason I am the way that I am and I think the way I think, and it's just because experiences I have been through. And I know we all been through experiences and it shapes us to who we are and every, but like my and I know I'm not alone, but sometimes it makes me feel like I'm alone. But my experiences like have kind of just like sheltered, I ain't gonna say sheltered me, but have me to have walls up, have me to be sheltered within myself, because it's almost like it's a trust factor for me. And
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm
that.
just gonna be honest, it's a trust factor for me. Like, I have a hard time with trusting people. Um very much so. Like, I don't like to get too close to people or anything. Like, I just have a hard time trusting because of experiences of people dropping me, experiences of people turning their back on me, experiences of people saying they're gonna do one thing and turn around and do another. Um, and those things have made me closed off from people. Um, and that's just being honest. And the craziest thing, I do have a heart for people. I do like to see people whole. I do like to see people heal. I want people to see them get their breakthrough. But a lot of times I just don't. I don't want to be the person that's that close to them or whatever. Um,
That's
amen.
right. By admitting it, that's right.
And so, and the craziest thing, I don't even know if people notice, like, I don't even like to give hugs. If you ever notice it, if anybody from my church is watching, if you ever notice, I don't really hug nobody. I dap everybody up.
And you better not be hugging nobody. I'm just
This nigga, this person.
Dap it on up. That's it. You're not a very affectionate person.
No, not at all. I was. That's just how. Yeah, I just doubt. I just
And better, he in the spirit.
be quiet. But I just doubt because I mean, it's showing love and expression to me is like it's a trust thing for me, and I have a hard time. Like that's one of the problems that I had in my marriage early on, and I'm in our marriage. I say my marriage, but it's our marriage. And I still struggle with that.
I was about to say,
I'm
not
figure
when we
say
started. Like we still like, yeah. I'm a very hug. I love hugs and I love like
don't touch me.
being close.
Yeah, and
He
I
doesn't
say
like that, so
don't touch me.
it takes him time, and I just have to give him that space and allow him just when he's now. This is what frustrates me in the marriage because I'm just like, let me just lay on you, and I kind of just have to wait, and so I had to learn to give him space and to give him time when he's dealing with certain issues because he deal with his issues different than I do, of course, and so I know if I'm crying and when I'm dealing with something, he knows what I need to be held and to be, you know, to be comfort. Rodney, on the other hand, just be left alone. Don't want nobody talking to him just to give him space. And I know like
Very true.
that is just how he deals with things. That's just the difference between an introvert and extrovert. And sometimes that can be kind of hard. And I had to learn, who Rodney just is, and I accept him for who he is, and just having that time to allow him that space. Like even going through what we went through on this week. Oh my gosh, it was just frustrating dealing with things this week. And honestly, I think I was writing my journal about almost. I mean, I was writing in my journal probably more than normal.
Yeah, because anytime she writing her journal, she either mad at me, disappointed, upset. So I know when she go to that journal, I done did something to make her upset, and she just got to write it out. And
Y'all come on and
and
applaud me.
and I come to her, I be like, "Why you writing about me? Why you writing in that journal?"
So this I do want to say this to people that are married or thinking about getting married. So we talked about this already, like in the beginning of our marriage, like I had a mouth on me. And so like if I had something to say, I'm just gonna say it. And I don't care how it's gonna make you feel. I can be heated up and I still won't say it. But I had to learn, but I had
I'm
to learn
sorry.
rude. But I had to learn how to study to be quiet and not to just say everything that comes to my mind. And so like in counseling, like I've been talking about it, like I just been journaling things that I've been dealing with or what irritates me. And so like if my husband come and ask me, yeah, we'll talk about it. But it's really been helping me in so many ways, just how to cope with things. And it also is a thing for me, just a coming down. It's a coming down method for me, how to come me down. And I just talk to God through the journal, like, hey, here I am. This is what I'm dealing with. Why you got me here? Why do I have to go through this? And I ask God just to give me the strength to handle it because sometimes Like I just felt like just breaking down, So it's good to journal and just to get things out that you're facing and dealing with.
Very true. I ain't got there yet. I'm internal. Everything I I hold a lot of stuff that I need to release. I think I'm like spiritually backed up. Not spiritually backed up, but like how can I say dealing with problems because I don't really I deal, but I deal with it in internally. Like I don't write it out. Um I don't really I do have an outlet. I have a counselor in the outlet that I talk to, and I trust my counselor that I could tell him anything and he doesn't judge. But besides him, I haven't really opened that door to anybody else to have that full how can I say full transparency with someone without them judging me or without them just being a listening ear. I'm gonna say it like that. Cause
Well,
of course I want you to give me Bible, but I don't want you to how can I say it? Like throw the Bible on me. Of course, because I'm a Christian and I live by what God says. But sometimes, some Christians just throw the Bible and not give that listening ear and already have the scriptures to give you before you even finish your statement.
thank you. Look what Kamisha wrote. That was good. Note that
Is unresolved feelings leading to sickness physically.
that's on the inside,
That may
and that is true.
that makes sense.
And when you don't deal with issues that's going on, and you just try to keep it on the inside, you will deal with that. Like you will get, sick. I know, like when my counselor, Pastor Angie Cleveland, one of the things she was telling me is whenever you've been triggered or whenever you're dealing with a trauma moment or you're dealing with something or something emotionally, how's your body reacting to it? And I was like, my body, But it is so true because I do believe that a lot of people do deal with a lot of sicknesses, a lot of headaches, and added stress because they're not dealing with it. So, babe, like I didn't start journaling until this year. I didn't start writing until this year. So yeah, you gotta release it, and you gotta go forth and get healed from this, and you will be healed from this.
Hiya.
Amen.
I will be
It's like
healed.
a soda pop. You keep shaking it up.
Oh my gosh, her and these
But it's truth though.
analogies.
Your body will release it one way or another. That's right. And you gotta deal with it. And sometimes just going just forward and say, hey, I gotta deal with this. Because I know I didn't want to deal with my issues from things that I went through. Like when we got married, I was just thinking we supposed to just be dealing with our marital issues, because like when he stepped out on me, immediately I was like, dog, if my daddy was here, he would have warned me of these signs. Like I think these things. Like if my daddy was here, things would be different. I don't know if it really would, but in my mindset, that's what I think, you know. And I didn't know this, but your holiness is your portion. You better say that again. But I
I
learned that
receive.
but I learned that if you don't deal with these issues and it's still like unresolved, it will leak into your marriage. And you have to deal with these things. And here we are trying to grow and you still holding on things. You got to release everything out and say, listen, this is what I'm dealing with. Like in our counseling session, y'all, like it was just like my husband was there and um we have like a board and it listed like the things that I went through from when I was a child, from my father committing suicide, from my brother committing suicide, from me being raped, from me, being in mental hospitals and dealing with suicidal thoughts. Like all this stuff was like on the board and like I was just weeping, and I was like, oh, I was still struggling with some of those things. And I myself, not, like fully healed from it. But I'm in my process. of being whole. And I'm telling
Our
you,
process.
it's been really working. It's been really working. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, I just admire. I would just admire her beauty and her telling her stuff because I ain't there yet. I I'm getting there. I'm gonna get there.
But you
Uh,
have improved a lot. Like you're on live right now
I'm
talking, and that's something that you always
Yeah, I would
have said.
never do this.
And like even when I had a thank you, prophetess, come on, you're growing. Holic, come on. Yes, Lord.
You're growing, sis.
Don't be a hater all your life. See, that's that internal stuff. You see, he can't applaud for others.
That's how you feel. I can't apply for us, but
You can. You can apply.
I'm getting there. Like I was saying. Uh, I'm getting there.
Hold on. Thank you. Okay, now go.
Oh gosh.
No, because I'm gonna tell you something, Prophetess Kalisha. I know, like, so I just want to say this because it is hard for people to actually celebrate one another. It is hard for people to celebrate. So I appreciate that because there's times when I don't feel like I'm the best and I'm the greatest.
You are the
You
best.
know, thank you, babe.
You the greatest wife
Until I get on your nerves.
ever. You still the greatest wife.
Blessed to you, Lakeisha.
You
But
just the
there are
greatest wife
times
that done got on my
but
nerve.
there are times where I just feel like, okay, like what is the purpose and what is this? And then it would just be a little word, just like what you said. Like that really just blessed me. And I'm telling you, like it truly did, because sometimes, people will say that they're there for you, but in reality, when something goes wrong, or they have these speculations about you, or them heard something about you, they whole view change. And so, like, yeah, like what you said about that trust. And I've known some people just be real and solid and be there. And people to tell me, hey, I don't mind telling you about yourself, but to learn to celebrate people on those growing moments. Thank you, Sister Kamisha. I've seen you grow in the short span. So I appreciate that.
I seen you grow too.
And you have been growing, Rodney. Like you don't ever share anything. And so like we all are just growing. So let's just say
Yeah.
that we all are just growing. But learning
I'm a
to,
private person. I mean, that's just be me.
especially in the especially Shaw said, especially in the black community, it's hard for us to congratulate. Listen, it is, and we have to learn to celebrate.
I celebrate everybody that's on the live today. I celebrate you. I don't know what
No,
y'all.
that was for Rodney. Well, I took it too because
Hold on, go back. Let me get mine. Thank you, Sabrina.
Well, thank you, Prophetess Felicia. Thank you.
We petty.
I know you love us, bro. I know you do.
We petty. But anyway, yeah, I celebrate each and every one of y'all and everything that you all are doing. And I want to continue to go. I want all of y'all to continue to go forth in everything that you're do that you're doing. And if there's anything that the Footmans can do to help, y'all, please let us know because we all about helping people.
I might get, hold up. I can get a prayer through, and I will pray.
That's helping.
Oh, okay.
I said help.
Okay, yeah. You know what some people mean when you say help? I'm just joking.
Yeah.
That was a moment. But yeah, like you do have to learn to celebrate people, and I celebrate Rodney, and this journey, because the things that we went through, it wasn't easy.
Yeah, we'll get back to our story next week. I just wanted to talk about something else, but we'll get back.
Well, it's still dealing with
No,
us.
I'm talking about like what actually happened because we left them on the cliffhanger because
I was supposed to talk about.
Yeah, and they probably wanted to know like how I got caught and all that type of stuff. So we'll talk about that next week.
Oh my gosh,
that was
now listen, y'all.
Don't worry.
Next week about how you got caught. Because I'm telling you, the Holy Ghost will speak. You seek him, he'll show you.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so we're gonna be talking about relationships, right? Relationship with our Father, and how it could have been different
right now.
That's what you were saying.
Oh yeah, cause I was talking about the Kurt Franklin documentary.
Listen, that
And
listen, it's gonna
go
be
get back
can I listen? I believe in dialoguing with the viewers. So
with the
when they put something in the chat, like I have to just slide it in, and let them know,
but
hey,
yeah, I got through watching the Kurt Franklin documentary, and y'all see how I just slid that right on through. Uh but yeah, we was talking about relationships with our fathers, and I guess how it plays in today's life. So my father is my father is currently in jail. I just found that out. When did we go see my family? When did I go to bid my house? Was that Tuesday? No, that was last Thursday, last Friday. Last Friday, I went to my bid my house. I love my bid my y'all. This woman is 90 something years old. My That's my great grandmother. She still walks around, don't use no cane, none of that like that. I bless God for her, because without her, my family would not be here. She has instilled God in each and every one of us. And even today, it was just a testament of her faith and how she leaned towards God. And even today, like, I love that woman so much. But anyway, I was at my house, and I asked my grandmother about my father, and come to find out he's in incarcerated again. So my father, he is deaf. My father is deaf. Me and my father have how can we don't have a relationship um at all. I can remember as a young boy, my father coming to pick me up like every weekend. Every weekend, picking me up from my grandmother's house, taking me to Spartanburg. And that's how I got to know like my daddy's side of the family and all that type of stuff like that. Uh, and then I think around the age of 7 to 8, it just stopped. Um, he stopped coming around, stopped picking me up. And like my dad was from my understanding, um, of when he was young, my dad was like an all athlete. He played football, he ran track, like he was like the man. You know how like in high school you have like the most popular person. Like him and my mother were the most two popular people like in their class when it came to the deaf and blind school. But the Kurt Franklin documentary, it really struck something, because the documentary is basically about his journey with his father and how he actually just met his biological father this year. Um, and so, like with that, I just kind of wanted to talk about us and our fathers. And like I said, like me and my father, we don't have a relationship. Sometimes I deal with not being wanted by my father. Sometimes I feel like for him to was picking me up every week, and now then all of a sudden it stopped. It made me feel like that I wasn't wanted anymore, um, or that he didn't want to take care of the responsibility anymore, or and again, with me being older now, I mean, I still don't understand, but with me being older now, I could kind of see, like, I don't blame him for anything anymore. But it's still kind of like,
Why don't you blame them?
why don't I blame him?
Yeah, what changed?
Um, Honestly, I don't know. I think I really just stopped caring. Um,
Like, did you forgive him? Like, what made you to the point?
have I forgave? I'm gonna be honest. I haven't forgive. I haven't forgave. I just kind of like forgot. Like, I ain't gonna say forgot, but I didn't. I ain't think about it no more. I just in my head. In my head, that's the way I thought life was supposed to be, because most of all my friends, Most all my friends lived in a single parent home as a mother, and just with their mothers. Um, none of my friends. I'm trying to think. Really, most of my friends that I hung out with back then, we all was living with our mothers and our fathers went in our
That's
lives.
good. Emotionally detached. Or Shaw said that.
Yeah, basically, emotionally, I was emotionally detached. Like even to this day, like if my
Yes. Sabrina said, out of sight, out of.
yeah, even to this day, like if I was to see my honestly, and it's sad, but it's like true. Like, and my wife get on to me a
Listen,
lot because,
listen.
and it's kind of like I hold. I ain't gonna say I don't know if I'm holding a grudge, and I might be, but like one day we seen my father walking.
Hold on. Let me tell the story. Let me tell it, baby.
No, I'm telling it.
Please let me tell it.
It ain't funny, but go ahead. I'll let you tell it.
No, because it was like, what the world?
Go ahead.
You sure?
Go
Because I
ahead.
gotta tell you my mindset. We were driving down the road. I look over to on the left side and I saw his father walking. And I was like, babe. I was like, babe, isn't that your dad? Yeah. He just kept driving. I was like, babe, because he was like limping down the road. And I was like, babe, you need to go pick him up. Like, come on, let's turn around. And it took him a little minute just to say, okay, let me turn around. Like immediately I knew, like, man, he's still been holding on to something. Like immediately I knew, oh, you know, he had something like against him from like stuff that he went through in childhood. And like I was just like, whoa. And so like for him to even be talking about it today, I just think is it's really good because we do need to deal with that. But in my mind, I was just like, oh, you just walked right past them.
Yeah,
We just drove right past
but I'm
them.
gonna tell you where that stems from, though.
I remember what you told me
What I tell you?
about him, how he did you when y'all was in the car together. Like he tried to choke you or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we was in the car. It was me, my uncle James, and my dad. And my dad wanted to go to the store, but he couldn't go to the store because he was put on trespass from the store. So because of me not stopping at the store, he he was sitting behind me, so he tried to hit me and like choke me from behind. So I was like, I'm not picking this man up no more. Like that's my mindset. And and I want y'all to understand I'm not bashing my father in any type of way because I still well no, let me not lie about that.
I believe that your father.
I honor him, but a part of me doesn't respect him a little bit. But I do honor him as my father. So if he was to ask me to do something, I would do it.
Do you ever pray for your father that he get delivered, or that he'll, you know, that the Lord would change his life? Do you ever just say those prayers and that y'all can, come back together and build a relationship?
To be honest, I've never thought about it. Never thought to pray for him.
But you pray for everybody yet? Pray for other people? You don't think about praying for your father?
Never thought about it.
Have you forgave him? It's okay. Well, listen, it's a hard topic, to kind of talk about sometimes when you like, man, like me, like just listening, like I know it takes a lot for you to have to get on here and like, and I know God put this on your heart to talk about this, about dealing with the relationship with your father. But I believe that sometimes that's probably where, you know, things that you've dealt with has stemmed from, from not having that relationship with your father and just you just bearing in it, not dealing with it. But today, I believe that some things will break, and it is breaking even now. And I just urge you to start praying for your father that his life will change. You know, I wish, I wish, my father was alive because I know my father wasn't perfect and he did things like my mom would tell me stories about them having an Ike and Tina moment, but I just feel like, what if we could have prayed, for him to be delivered, fully delivered and set free, what would have things been like? So I'm going to be praying. We're going to start praying, that you find the love to pray for your father, that he will be, first of all, that his soul will be right. Like, just not y'all relationship, but first of all, that his soul would be changed, that God would just deal with him. Because once God get a hold of him, everything else will change in his life, even the relationship between y'all two. So I do know it's hard, but I believe that I do know you're still holding on to some things that you just haven't totally forgiven. You haven't forgiven him. And I believe that we all have been there at some point of our life where we just like, no, yeah. And I know it's hard and hurtful.
Yeah.
You want a hug?
No.
Okay. You want a dap?
I definitely.
Okay.
So, I never, to be honest, I never really thought about it. I never uh really thought about forgiving my father um for not being there. Never really. I mean, and the reason like I got quiet and I almost teared up because for me to be a man of God and never had the thought to pray for my own father.
It's tough.
I mean, literally, never had a thought to pray for my father.
And that's just because what you said earlier, like you just don't want to, you just don't think about it. You just don't care. But tonight, that's going to change. So do you still feel like you like help like have unforgiveness? Have you truly forgiven him?
No, no, and I don't know. I don't know because to talk about forgiveness and tell other people that you got to forgive, and then when it comes to you and it hits you in the face, to forgive someone that you felt was supposed to be there for you, that you felt was supposed to teach you lessons, that you felt was supposed to show you how to treat a woman, to treat women, period, for someone that was supposed to show you how to be a man, how to manage money, how to do all those types of things. And some of the stuff I had to learn on my own. And I'm still learning on my own. And yeah, I I mean, I gotta work on that forgiveness.
And also you have to think about his background and his upbringing. Did he have a father to teach him?
He
You
did.
know, well, maybe there was some other things that has happened that has like that he's dealt with, and what he's facing as well. And even like you said, it's us being Christians. Us, trying to be a witness and ministering to other people, like, and then not to even want to even think about just praying for our own, you know, that can be kind of hard. That's kind of tough. But you never know what has happened if you have to like sit down and like talk to him and like get it off your chest, at the right timing, because you got to deal with it. You got to, and we talked about this in Ephesians 4, where it talks about, letting go of the bitterness, and I think it's 32nd verse when it talks about, God has forgiven us. We have to, forgive them. We have to show that kindness and the love of God. And I know it's going to be a hard thing to do, to go and talk to your father, and you may need a counselor there, in the midst of it, to deal with that, because you're carrying something that God wants to tell you to release and let go. Let's deal with it. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, y'all gonna just get like this, but to start the process of that relationship, you gotta forgive, and you want to pray that he gets delivered. Pray that his soul gets right with God. Yep. It's a hard pill to swallow, baby, but you gotta forgive.
Obviously. Mm, mm, mm. I apologize, y'all.
No need to
But this
apologize.
is, I know the Lord put this on my heart to talk about this, but I ain't know it was gonna be for me. Um, yeah, I didn't know that this was gonna be for me, and I understand why He wanted me to talk about it, because there's some forgiveness that I gotta do. There's some unforgiveness that I have that I need to release, and I need to let go of some
Rodney,
things.
do you want to rebuild the relationship? That's the question. If your answer is yes, then whatever it takes, God will lead you through it. And I think it's more than just rebuilding. Like, I think that the first step is really forgiving, forgiving him, because his dad might not even know everything that Rodney's talking about right now and how he felt. You know,
I don't think it for me. I don't think it's a question of rebuilding a relationship. Um, I just know I need to forgive, because I don't. As of right, I'm not gonna say it can't change, but I don't think it will change.
but what kind of God do we serve?
I know what kind of God we serve.
Because there's power. There's what you speak out of your mouth. You have the power because God lives within inside of us. So,
Well, I'm gonna say this. I don't know if I want the relationship to change. I just know I need to forgive them.
I think that you just have to change your language.
Change
When
my.
Pastor preached about it, changing your language and what you say, because at the end of the day, we want to see your dad change. We want to see your dad make it into heaven. We want to see your dad get set free, just as well as when you do the man cave and you pour into them. Maybe you might be that one that can impact your father's life, that say, hey, I want to give my life to God. You could be that one, but we won't ever know if you keep holding on to it. And you have to just say, hey, I got to forgive and I need to talk. You might be that one, Rodney. What if you are the one that is holding them back to getting to the place where God is calling to be?
Again, I did not expect this to go like this, but it's good. Y'all seeing some raw stuff right now because this is something I would never talk
Well, it ain't up to us. You the one came up with it. I
about.
didn't
I
know what you
know the
thought.
Lord came up with this for me.
Yeah, the Lord came up with it, and so I just found out when we got on the live, and hey, here we are.
Here we are. So I will go through the forgiving process when it comes to my father. I need to go through the forgiving process. As
Yeah,
as my wife said, I might be the one, and even with that being said, I'm holding my own self back, holding on to something that can't be changed. Excuse me, when it comes to the past, but the future, the present and the future can always be different because our past does not determine our future. And I can't allow what has happened in the past to determine what can happen in the future in a relationship with me and my father.
yeah, because you don't know what your father went through. He might have dealt with some things, and he probably felt like he probably wasn't good enough to be your father. And you know, I mean, these are things that you have to think about. Look at somebody that I'm close with, and what we have been dealing with. When I see him on the street, like he wasn't always like that, and he got on drugs. Something was laced up. You don't know what people are dealing with, and we cannot sit up here and say, well, you know, they can't change because with God, people can change. And that right there, like it should be an eye opener, just not for Rodney, but for everybody. If there's somebody in your life that it could be your father, your mother, maybe a grandparent, and you just like, man, they just diss me. Because the first thing to think about is, well, I'm just not going to deal with them, and we're just going to leave it there. And then we have unforgiveness sitting there when God is saying, listen, you got to deal with this unforgiveness that's inside of you because it can affect your relationship, it can affect your walk with Christ. So you got to deal with it. And I think tonight was the night for you to even just to step out and say, hey, I still got this unforgiveness with my father, and all of that deals with the rejection and abandonment, feeling like you're not worth anything, like why did my daddy just drop me? All those things play into it. But listen to you, Alexis. So you just got to really confront that thing and be okay. And sometimes it's what you want to do, just hide in the cave. You got to come out, Elijah, and deal with it. You didn't want to put the hood up. That's what just gave me
I know.
that.
This is why sometimes I don't like my wife, but I need my wife. I don't like you, but I need what's inside of you. Ain't that what Pastor?
Yeah. But you got to be real and you got to be transparent because I do know with Rodney not having that relationship with his father, and as of today, we know that he still has unforgiveness. That has affected, us and our marriage.
You think so?
Yeah, when you dealing with those father, yeah, because it shows why you just bury stuff, why you just say you don't care and you just don't want to face it. Like, yeah, some of those things have affected, and why
Oh,
you have
that
these walls up, and you will hold for you to actually just go drive right past your father and not pick him up. I'm like, dog, that's cold hearted. Like, dog, yeah, and like when
is
you
it cold hearted or is it because of the experience that I went through?
because you're not healed, and you got to talk about it and deal with it. To me, because I didn't know
But hold on,
everything.
no, that's just like your analogies that you always be talking about. Okay, if someone if someone hit you,
Mm-hmm.
someone hit you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I'm finna throw an analogy back at it. Someone hit you the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna stick around and get hit a second time?
No.
There you go.
But that is totally
So
different though,
no,
Rodney.
it's not. So for me, it's
Your
like,
dad choked you. Okay, when was that? When did he do that?
but it don't matter. The memory and the trauma of that still plays in my head.
And you never dealt with it.
Even if I dealt with it, it's still, as they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
But what does the word say? Because when you apply the word, Rodney,
I understand
he
what the
will
word.
deal. He
I
will deal with that.
understand
He
what the
will
words.
deal.
Yes, he would deal with that, but that don't mean you gonna go back around to get hurt again or to get hit again.
But I'm okay. But I'm here.
What you mean?
I was hurt in this marriage. We went through things in this marriage, but I'm here. Why? Because God did a work.
And there was a change.
And you telling me that God can't change your
I'm not
every.
saying he. I'm not saying he cannot change him, but he is not changed at this particular moment.
But have you started praying for him?
How? I just told you that I don't pray, that
I
I
know.
didn't pray for
So I
him.
want you to
So
see.
that's two different scenarios. You're not going to keep going around someone that's going to keep hurting you and keep hurting you and keep. Then you go. That's crazy on your behalf, on your part. So that's how I feel when it came at that particular moment. That's how I felt at that situation, at that moment of seeing him walking, and the automatic, when you said pick him up, the automatic trauma of what he did last time came to mind. And at that point, no, I did not want to pick him up because at that I didn't know what state of mind he was in. I didn't know what he could do, and I didn't know what he was capable of doing.
Hey, Jada.
That's just me. And I'm just being honest. It might be wrong, but that's just me. Because in my head, that hurt me because again, I'm your son. As your son, how do you feel that it is right to try to choke your own son out or try to hit your son while he driving?
And that right there is trauma.
That's what I just
And I
said.
understand that it triggers you. That's why I'm saying, even in this marriage, some of those things that you just talked about, we have dealt with it. We've been in some stuff, and I that's what I'm saying is that, well, blessings to you, Elder Shonda. So there's things that you have to deal with, and to you, Tim, blessings to you as well. If you don't deal with it, if you don't deal with your issues of trauma and
We
triggers,
talking about
and
us. We ain't talking.
listen, that's what I'm.
Okay, go ahead.
But what I'm saying though, because this is just not for us, it's for everybody that's looking, that when you're dealing, blessed to you, Mary, that when you don't deal with it and face it, it can leak into this marriage, it can leak into things. And what I'm saying to you, babe, is that this issue with your father, like you just said, that was something that was just mind blowing. You was like, man, I never thought about praying for my father or forgiving him, because that stuff, like you just been holding on to that.
And I acknowledge that.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. But the situation you talking about is different because yes, I did something to hurt you, but I also applied change behavior behind it to show you that that won't happen again. Correct? Right? Right or wrong?
You did. And
Okay.
it, but okay. So even to that, when we dealt with the infidelity, it just didn't change overnight. And it didn't even change within 2 months. It took time and it took counseling. What I'm trying to say is
And
that
I and I
God can work on your father as well, that God can change his heart. There's nothing too hard for our God, but we have to believe. I can't get up here and just keep preaching and keep trying to be a witness if I don't believe in the word of God, because the word works. That's the only thing I'm trying to say, is that your father can change. But you have to be willing to forgive him and to release it so that you can grow more in God, and so that everything you've been dealing with on the inside, God can heal you from that. But it's a choice. God gave us a choice. It's up to you.
I understand that. And for me, I have to get to the point, just like my brother Tim say, what if they don't change? Then what? I have to get to that point to where whether he changes or not, I have to forgive him. And at the end of the day, he is still my father, and I have to honor and respect him as my father. And I have to know that, the forgiveness is not for him, but the forgiveness is for me. Because, like you said, if I keep holding on, if I keep, you know, like, how, as the Bible say, how how can God forgive me if I don't forgive?
And I'm going to say this to your point too, Tim, to ask that question. Um, so what if they don't change? Hey, as long as you have done your part, that's all you can do. But I think sometimes, you know, we sometimes just want people to change right then and there. But the thing about it is, it takes time. Just like we see when you're trying to grow something, to grow a business, or when farmers trying to grow fruits and vegetables, or when you're planting things, nothing happens overnight. And this is what's going to happen. Like when he begins to deal with, you know, him not dealing, his not having a father and facing it today to say, hey, I mean, I just don't care for him. You know, I've never thought about praying for him. Things, I mean, it takes time. But even if they don't change, even if you're saying that they don't change, long as you've done your part. But I believe in God that they will change. That's the type of God that we serve. That I just know that God is going to change him, and that God is going to do a work on his father. And that's something that we have to change our language. A lot of times I'll be like, man, I've said this before. Oh, they ain't gonna change. They're gonna keep doing what they doing. But dog, did I change? Yeah, I changed. Like it took time, but we have to know that with the help of God and following his plan and his word, it's going to work. It's going to work. So you just got to apply it. So listen to him, because I want you to know that you're not alone, because there are times where we just be like, man, they ain't going to change. Like I think about that with one of my,
Yeah, go
one
ahead.
of my,
Go ahead.
now I'm not going to put her out on blast. So with somebody that I'm really close with, and we grew up together, and I'm just like, man, like my mom would tell me, like, Chanel, you need to go talk to them and, try to, you know, get that relationship back and give her the word of God. But I'm like, Mom, like, I know that she's not going to listen to me. And God going to give you wisdom, but I have been praying, and like I may hear from her here and there, but it's just the step. You got to make that step and say, hey, like, we believe that God is going to do it, and that's just it. We believe that God's going to do it, and God is going to do it for you and your father.
He's gonna do it. So, if any of my family see this, I just want y'all to know to be praying for me, and to,
Well, you got family. You got, this is your family. We're all on here.
Well, yeah, no, I'm talking about, like,
I know what you mean.
yeah, the Mills, Lynch, and Jacksons. Y'all just be praying for me because I mean, they know my father, of course, because it's family, so they know the dynamic and the rich car. And y'all be praying for me as well, because this is something that's gonna be. I ain't gonna say it's gonna be hard for me, but I just got to be willing to go through it. Willing to do with it.
Willing to release it. Willing to
That's
release it.
that's going through it.
You got to be willing to release it, and you're gonna do it, Rodney. Especially if you don't want to handle your growth.
I ain't gonna hinder my growth.
You will if you continue to walk with unforgiveness in your heart.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Pastor Footman.
I had to deal with it.
Yes, Pastor Footman. But anyway,
Hold on. We're gonna take a pause break, because you remember when you told me about I had to learn to walk in total forgiveness, and that was hard. And it's hard to bite that apple when it's you.
I beat it. One we had an hour 15. So I do want to announce y'all, Man Cave is tomorrow. It is tomorrow from 11 to 3. It's gonna be at B Dazzle in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I do not have the address, and I should have had the flyer on here. That's my fault. Um,
They can go look on your profile
yeah, you
picture.
go look on my profile. I've been posting it a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. You were supposed to do a video for me, and you never did it.
We still got time.
Oh, yeah,
That's been a lot going on this week.
it has, but yeah, Man Cave is just for men to have a safe space to come and share what they need to share.
Bite the apple. That's right.
Whatever, like the apple, and
See?
also, I kind of want to change the name of this, and I'm gonna. It's I know it's called Fearless Footmans, and my cousin he spoke to me. He spoke to both of us, and he was like, for what we're trying to do, he was like, think about it at a wider standpoint and all those things. Because it was like Fearless Footmans is good, but he was like, would Fearless Footmans reach that person that might have like cheated on their spouse that just left the club? Like, what would draw them? Um, so I want to change. If you don't mind, we could discuss this offline if you want to. I want to
we
change,
we here now. We in the boat.
but I'm saying I want to change it to
We in
love.
the boat and we out in the middle of the ocean.
I
So
want to say I want to change it to love and transparency with the Footman. And the only reason I
love and transparency.
love and transparency with the Footman is because I feel like everybody, no matter you're Christian or not or whatever you believe in, I feel like everybody is wanting to be loved or is missing love, need love, or is love.
And I mean, I still love the fearless footmen. So
And
that could just be a hashtag, but yeah, I think it'd be good because really,
and and also the transparency part is everybody wants transparency. It's time out for not being fluff. As y'all can see, we're being fully transparent on here. So I feel like people want that. They want love and transparency. Like I feel like that is the two biggest things that people want on this earth nowadays is love and transparency.
I think that'll be good because this is why we're doing this to be real about what we went through, in our marriage because we went through some stuff. Al, you was a part of it. So well, he knows some of it.
He know
I
quite a bit.
I figured he did.
Huh.
Yeah.
He know about the post.
Hey, I sure did. But listen, Al, I'm gonna say this. I don't mind saying this. I know that I was wrong, but I'm gonna tell you something. I was hurt, and I just didn't know how to really deal with it because that was just hurtful. That's all I'm gonna say. And
What?
somebody that I prayed for, and that actually, you know, was in my bridal room with me. Yeah, that just wasn't easy, and I had to bite that apple. So that was just a little rough. But yeah, so this really what we're doing is just being transparent about
Yeah.
how God restored us. So that's just where we are at
Yeah. And we
and why this is
and a part
being
of me
done.
and a part of me, I want people to know that you are loved. No matter what your circumstances is, that you do have a father in heaven who loves you, who has that agape love for you that no matter what you go through, no matter what you done, no matter how much you feel that you have messed up, like he loves you. So I feel like love and transparency with the Footmans would be good. And like fearless Footmans could be like a
Love and transparency moments are with the fearless footmans. Y'all be
no
getting
love and transparency with the Footmans.
love and transparency with the footmans. Okay,
Yeah.
that works.
Cause that'll reach that can
Love
reach
and transparency. What's that word? Transparency.
love and transparency with the Footmans. Cause everybody that's like a brother, it's not churchy.
I get what you
If
mean.
you get what I mean, it's not churchy because everybody needs that.
And you have
Everybody
that.
needs both love and transparency. Yeah. Yo, I need a videographer. Please, hey, tag some videographers in this because I want to do like an intro video for this. Tag 'em. And tag logo people too, because I'm thinking about like a heart, having a heart, love. But I got an idea. We gonna get it going. Don't y'all steal my idea though. Don't steal it. Let me where the camera at. Let me point. Don't steal my idea. But anyway, we thank each and every one of y'all for getting on. We thank y'all for paying attention to us. If only even if you only came in for a minute or two, we thank y'all for getting on. Oh, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Right now it's called Fearless Footmans, but we're gonna go ahead and change that for next week. Hopefully I can have a logo or something by next week. And we're gonna get that done. And so yeah, that's all I got for y'all tonight. Again, be blessed. Next week we will continue on with our story. We're gonna get to the nitty gritty, the juicy part. We left y'all at a cliffhanger, but we're gonna get back to it next week. The Lord just put this on my heart, and I see why He put this on my heart to talk about it. So again, we love each and every one of y'all. Y'all keep praying for the Footmans, and we'll keep praying for you guys. And again, we end it with love and transparency.
With the Footmans.
Yeah.